Hello guys, welcome to Redditor's Revenge. Here we post amazing revenge stories daily. And if you want more content like this, please do subscribe to the channel and stay tuned with us. Moving on to today's first story, in which OP took revenge on her dad's gold digger wife after she cheated on him twice. Now story. So a little over a week ago, I caught my dad's witch wife at a hotel pool with a man I'll call steroid douche, or SD for short. Guess what they were doing? Hint, not swimming. She and SD has some history. About a year ago she left my dad for SD. This was just a mere 6 months after my father married her, so my dad let her go and started the divorce stuff. Unfortunately, she came crawling back to him before the divorce could happen. She claimed SD beat her, SD doesn't love her, and she made a mistake, so my dumb dad takes her back. Now here she is only 4 months later playing tonsil hockey with SD at a hotel pool when she should be at her office working. She didn't see my husband and me, so we took some super sweet pics and slipped out of there. I'm not going to lie, I was super pissed. I was going to send the pics off to my dad right then and there. However, hubby and I decided that there was more that could, and should be done. Now I'll try to keep this brief, but there's something I need to add. My dad has supported this woman and her children for years, and she is not a cheap woman to have around. She has only very recently gotten herself a job. A very nice one. She is actually in the process of owning about a third of the business. My sisters and I have speculated that this recent success might be because of extramarital activities with the fairly wealthy recently divorced business owner, who spontaneously took my dad's wife under his wing. I'll call the business owner BO. Now I had no proof that she was cheating on my dad with BO, only with SD. However, I figured it wouldn't hurt to reach out to BO with my findings to see how he would react. Since she was supposed to be at work, she must have called off, so I called her office. Hi, this is Tinamu, I'm calling about witch wife. Is BO there? I should mention my dad's wife pretended to be a loving stepmom, which she's not. Well, that also meant pretending to have a hard but endearing relationship with me. Her office is plastered in pics from Facebook of myself and my family, so people in her office know who I am and didn't have any issue with transferring me to BO. BO, hi Tinamu, is everything okay with witch wife? Me? Well, kind of, it depends. How close are you really to my dad's wife? BO, excuse me, and he stammered. Me? Never mind, look, I'm going to be straight with you. Witch wife is out with SD when she should be there working. And then there was pin drop silence. Me, hello. Bo, why should I believe you? All you've done is lie about witch wife. Yeah, my dad's wife is a permanent victim. Me, I'll send you some pics I took. I send the pics to his email address, and get no response. I decide to call SD's gym, which is also my gym. There's been a pretty awful rumor going around about SD. He's been selling steroids to fellow gym members. So I told them SD tried to sell me steroids there last week. This was a lie, but I told them I didn't feel safe going there anymore, so I'd like to cancel my membership. They asked if I was going to go to the police and file a report. I told them no, that SD was prone to anger and I didn't want to risk retaliation. They understood, and my membership canceled. I know this seems irrelevant, but this gym takes this kind of thing seriously, especially when a complaint results in an end of a membership. At the very least, they will be looking to cancel his membership too. So then finally, after all that, I send my dad the pics I took of his wife with a long drawn-out message about support and love and whatnot. Now to the good part. It's been a week since I saw what I saw and did what I did. Here are the results of my half-assed sabotage. Witch wifey lost her job and any chance at being a co-owner. BO trashed her shit in the office and made a huge scene, which led to a pretty nasty, heavily detailed review on a local Facebook rant page from a customer that was in the establishment. Our town is pretty small, so a review like that can be a bit damaging, and because of the contents, it hurt witch wifey's image. Someone even shared a story about her husband having an affair with my dad's wife 3 years ago at her last job. Wouldn't you know if SD had rented out a locker at the gym? Since the waiver you signed to rent a locker allows the gym to open your locker whenever they feel necessary, SD ended up getting his locker searched. What they found in the locker, according to the police blotter, was a freaking unregistered handgun. So poor SD is going to prison. Yeah, a seriously great way to bullshit me into a win. Did I mention he's a felon? Huh, you can guess how that worked out for him. Bye-bye. My dad's wife is now living in a hotel. Between the pics, BO firing her, and then SD being sent away, my dad threw her ass out. She is super upset about SD, hysterical to be more precise. She refuses to come to see her kids who are still living with my dad. My dad is being civil and trying to keep everything super calm for them. She doesn't seem to care about my dad or the kids at all though. She did give me a call. I let it go to voicemail. I couldn't make out what she said, but between the shrieks and sobbing, I caught him going to kill you, you ruined my life. And I might get a restraining order, I don't know yet. I'm kinda giddy about this, my dad will hopefully start being happier. Now, here is the end of our today's first story. I hope you enjoyed it. In my opinion, revenge stories against cheaters are the best, especially when these are the results. Cheating is one of the most disgusting and painful things to do to someone. I have zero sympathy for them. Guys, let me know what's your opinion about cheaters. So before moving to the next story, please hit the like button and do subscribe to the channel to stay tuned with us for more awesome stories. Now, moving to our second story, about OP and her flatmate and how they treated her like a maid and then threatened her. So OP made them homeless. Now story. The cast for this will be me, the one that should have known better. BF, my lovable hero, boyfriend. F, old flatmate who's the spawn of Satan. FB, spawn of Satan's play toy landlord. Isn't it obvious? So I've known F for several years and we had a good friendship. Up until a year ago. I was a hormonal young woman that wanted to have her own space and F felt the same. So we put our money together and rented a flat. But when I say our money, I mean 70% mine and 30% hers. I didn't have a problem with it at first because I was just glad to not have my mum in my ear 24/7. I even paid for all the furniture in the flat, just for everything to be broken, ripped, or messed up with food and cigarette butts. That comes later. I had BF stay with me in my room and it was amazing. And F had FB stay with her. Now BF and I live in our flat in a different city because shit hit the fan in more ways than one. Now I don't have a friend, but I'm better off that way because that was no friend. In the beginning, me and F opened a joint account for bills and kept our separate accounts so bills didn't fall on one person, which I come to find a few months later that when I got paid end of the month, F took money from the account until their payday, which was on a set date every month. This led to unpaid bills and calls coming through to me from companies chasing money. When I confronted F about it, they said they needed to travel, but I knew it was going to drugs for F and FB. They did some weird shit. I know I should have known better and nipped it in the bud there and then, but no. F even begged me for money after taking money out of the account every month, and me being me lent it to her. F paid nothing towards food shopping, but F and FB ate every last thing. If money wasn't an issue, cleanliness was. Plates, cups, and pots were left all over the kitchen and I was made expected to clean everything, which I did because I have OCD and can't stand mess. If you saw it, you'd understand. When I finally put my foot down, F told me that BF left plates on the side too. BF laughed and told F that his plates were on the side overnight. Hers were there for 6 days. F still took the piss and never cleaned up unless I said anything like I was her mother. After that, FB waited until BF left the flat to go to the shop and shouted at me, telling me to sort myself out before he does. Blah blah blah, empty threats. FB didn't realize I was on the phone with BF and BF came back to the flat. Before he got through the door, FB ran out, slamming my door and calling me a witch while running away like a coward because he's scared of BF. That's true, but it's too long to add. Bear in mind BF is like the BFG. One day F and FB went away without a word and F had taken things from my room, my hair straightener, my jumper, and my brush, so I went into their room to retrieve them. The smell that hit my nose when I opened the door made me so angry, I don't know why. But immediately I got on the phone with the landlord. This is the revenge part. The landlord came over the next day while F and FB were still out and saw the state that F left the flat in. He was so livid he swore and apologized to me but said he wanted to issue her a notice to leave the flat and permitted me to stay. Although I was thankful for his generous offer, I didn't want to stay where I felt such bad energy. Before he issued the notice, I called BF and asked him to arrange a removal van while I contact a storage company to rent a locker. I then dismantled and packed the furniture from the kitchen, bathroom, and living room, packed up the van, and kept my things safe. God knows F would have stolen them. When F and FB got back, F saw the notice and furniture gone. She got so mad she stormed out. The notice had mentioned that the cleanliness of the flat was disgusting. The loud music had been reported by neighbors. They had a boombox playing at antisocial hours, and smoking in the flat was not allowed, which F knew before signing the agreement. F never spoke a word to me after the notice was served and left the flat before the 2 months were up. The dumbasses left her bedroom windows open and tried to sneak in later that evening, but I shut them and made sure they were locked with the key. The door key was changed by the landlord immediately after F and FB left. I and BF stayed about a month later to make sure the flat was presentable to new tenants before we moved on. We now live in a much nicer area and are trying for our first baby. Wish us luck. Oh, also F and FB broke up, I heard through the grapevine. F burned every last bridge with her family and even called BF for money. Thankfully he didn't help her. We haven't heard a word from her since and I couldn't be happier to be rid of that leech. Sorry if it seems to be all over the place. Like I said, this happened about a year ago and I've tried to forget the little details so I can move on with my life. But unfortunately this happened. If you don't believe me, that's up to you. Thanks for reading. Now, here is the end of our second story. I hope you enjoyed it. I am glad OP and her BF left the apartment on time because I have seen things gone very wild with such flatmates and end up getting in fights or charges. I am very happy for them and their baby, wishing them good luck. Now, moving to our final story, in which OP's ex's divorce lawyer accused him of hiding his income, money laundering, and demanded his 3 years of financials. So here is the little malicious compliance on the douchebag lawyer. This happened several years ago when my ex and I were going through a heated divorce custody battle. While we were married, we had a couple of conversations about how rich people hide their assets to avoid paying taxes. I've never had enough assets to do this, but she somehow got the idea that I was and told her attorney that I was laundering money and hiding income. It was more likely the heat of the moment, as divorce and custody battles often come down to. I couldn't even afford my attorney, so I represented myself. Her lawyer wasn't a total ass, but he was out to get me, and he talked down to me like I didn't deserve to breathe the same air. One day, I get a letter in the mail from him requesting an updated income declarations form and 3 years of financials. It had a long bum list of things to include. I own a communications tech company that was in the super startup phase back then. Money was already tight. I was trying to get this business off the ground with no financing. I was finishing my MBA with scholarships and loans, so paying for copies and postage or driving this 30 miles to his office meant eating peanut butter and saltines for a week. So I called him to explain my situation. He all but called me a liar and didn't believe I couldn't afford it. I was put off by that, and I said this was taking time away from the business I needed to handle. To which he replied, and I'll never forget this, "Well, according to your income declarations, you're not that busy. What do you do all day?" He then said if he didn't get these documents, he would consider my previous filings fraudulent, tell the judge, contact the DA, and also alert the state tax agency and IRS. Probably an empty threat, but I'm no lawyer. eFax is one of the services my company provides, and at this time it was relatively unknown, so I asked him if he has a fax machine. He said he had a fax, scanner and copier device, then said what law office doesn't have a fax machine. And I suddenly got an idea. "Okay," I said to him, "I'll put together and fax whatever I can." "Okay, mother ducker, do you want 3 years of financials?" "You got it." I scanned to PDF every receipt I could find. McDonald's receipt from 5 years ago. Duck it, won't hurt to include it. CVS receipt. It's 3 miles long. Perfect. They get the $1 off toothpaste coupons too. I downloaded every bank statement, credit card statement, purchase order from vendors, and every invoice I sent to clients. I printed to PDF the entire 3-year accounting journal, monthly, quarterly, annual balance sheets, cash flow statements, and P&Ls. Not only did I PDF 3 years of tax filings, but every single letter I received from the IRS and state tax agency, including the inserts advising me of my rights. It took a while, but I was a few days ahead of the deadline. I made a cover page black background with white lettering. Wherever I could, I included separator pages in all caps in the biggest, boldest font that would fit on the page in the landscape, 20 receipts, 20 taxes, etc. I merged everything into a single 150-plus page compressed PDF and sent the document using my FX system. Every hour or so, I received a status email saying the fax failed. Huh, that's weird. Well, they're getting this document. So I changed the system configuration to unlimited retries after failures to keep redialing until it went through. Weird, I was still getting status email failures. I'll delete the failure emails and keep the success one after it eventually goes through. I thought, problem solved. 2 days later, a lady from his office called and asked me to stop sending the fax. Their fax, scanner, printer and copier had been printing nonstop. It kept getting paper jams, kept running out of ink, and they had to keep shutting it off and back on to print. I explained that her boss told me to send this by the deadline or else he would call the DA and IRS. Since I didn't want a call from the DA or the IRS, I would keep sending until I get a successful confirmation. I suggested they just not print until my fax completes, but she didn't like that. She asked me to email the documents, and I told a little white lie that my email wouldn't allow an attachment that big. Unless her boss in writing agreed to cancel the request or agree to reimburse me for my costs to print and ship, I said I would continue to fax until they confirm they have received every page. She put me on hold, and the attorney gets on the line. He said to forget to send the financials. I said that I would need this in writing, so I will keep sending the fax until he sent that to me. He asked me to stop faxing and he would send it in writing. And I said send it in writing first and then I'll stop. A long moment of silence. Click. About 20 minutes later, I received an email from his assistant with an attached signed letter in PDF that I no longer needed to provide financials. The letter then threatened to pursue sanctions in court or sue me for interfering with their business. Every time I saw him after that, the lawyer never brought up sanctions, lawsuits, criminal referrals, or financials again. Now, here is the end of our final story. I hope you enjoyed it. Guys, let me know what's your opinion about this story in the comments section. I enjoy reading all of your opinion. And before leaving, please hit the like button and do subscribe to the channel to stay tuned with us for more awesome stories.